Well, what is up, YouTube? How's everybody doing on this evening or morning or wherever you happen to be? Sorry I didn't get this video out earlier today. A lot of things happened, but hope everybody had a great Labor Day weekend. Mine was phenomenal. So, as I was saying earlier, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Try to put out a video every Tuesday. We look back at what happened in week one, the official first Saturday of college football. We're going to talk a couple of 6 games that I want to talk about for the NFL, wild card race in baseball, and this news item I read on STDs. And for right now, I want to talk about this video I got coming out. I'm going to do kind of like a top 5 of my favorite movies coming out soon, hopefully within the next few weeks. Going to start working on it after this episode is uploaded to YouTube, so that'll be something I like to do, and hopefully you all enjoy. Let's get right to the news item. This is according to CNN.com. 2.3 million cases of STDs were reported last year amongst these three diseases of syphilis, gonorrhea, and chlamydia. This is according to the CDC Center of Disease Control. Now, my thing is I promote safe sex, so obviously I don't question what people do outside of the confines of their own home, but it happens, and people like to get it on. So my thing is there's a big debate about how Trump wants to shut down Obamacare, but then not giving good, affordable health care for these illnesses. So I think a lot of doctors are thinking this could be this health crisis, an amazing health crisis, because in the last 5 years up until this year, it's on a record high. Now, it may be a catch-22. Okay, well, we're having these 3 STDs, an outbreak in society. Government's really not doing anything about it. A lot of doctors and healthcare people want this to be, okay, well, we have this Obamacare, Affordable Health Care Act. People are on the fence about it. They need to be treated for these illnesses because these could rapidly spread. This looks like it's going to be an outbreak for years to come. So we can get into the debate about that, but if somebody's not doing anything about it, this will continue to increase, and you never know what could happen. And if not treated properly, these could lead to death. So I'm preaching safe sex, so birth control, condom, whatever you guys happen to do. I don't care if you pull out, just whatever. That's really pointless if you think about it. But at any rate, coming up, we're talking about the wild card race and the playoffs. And according to yesterday, Boston, Cleveland, and Houston were leading the American League. Yankees, A's, Seattle, and Tampa were still in the wild card hunt. Now, the Yankees just acquired outfielder Andrew McCutchen from San Francisco. He previously played with Pittsburgh. Aaron Judge is still out. We'll see. I think the Yankees may get a wild card spot, but we'll see. Oakland is looking pretty good. They're a surprise team coming out of the American League this year. Don't really know a whole lot about them, but they are staying toe-to-toe with Houston in that division. They could get that final wild card spot. Another team to look out for, the Mariners and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, I think, is a very underrated team this year. People are overlooking how great their hitting has been. Blake Snell could be in that Cy Young, is a Cy Young candidate in my opinion, and I think Kevin Cash is lead candidate for Manager of the Year. Even if they don't make the playoffs, great strides this year for the Tampa Bay Rays, even though their MO is trading their best players for cash, but so, as we look at the division leaders, I don't think these are going to change before the October hits. These 3 teams, Boston, Cleveland, and Houston, are probably going to end up winning their respective divisions. I'd like to see Tampa up there, but it's probably going to be New York and Oakland. But things happen in funny ways. Now, the National League is a lot funkier than the American League. You got the Cubs, Atlanta, and Colorado, as of yesterday, leading the division. So this is as of Monday night. Now, I don't know if I think the Dodgers lost last night, so Colorado should be still leading that division. The Dodgers are number 1 for the wild card. Milwaukee is second. St. Louis, Arizona, and Philadelphia. Philadelphia has faded. Now, up until last night, they were 4 and I think 4-11 in their last 15 games, or 4-15 in their last 19. They acquired Jose Batista in a trade last week. So I would think that at Philadelphia, they have a chance to catch Atlanta. I don't think they're going to win this wild card hunt. If they have a chance, they get the hitting and pitching together, I think Philadelphia can catch Atlanta. But Atlanta is really a hot team right now. They have come out of nowhere. So is Philadelphia to really be a contender in the National League East. A big disappointment has been the Washington Nationals in the National League East. Cubs, I think everybody expected to be right where they are. Nothing really changed. They got Cole Hamels now in a trade, but they didn't really change a lot in their core personnel. Colorado and the Dodgers, I think the Dodgers, everybody expected to be up there. Colorado's started off slow, but they're coming on. Milwaukee is still a great team. I don't know if they're going to catch the Cubs. St. Louis, after firing Mike Matheny last month, has really, really taken off. Might be too little too late. So my picks out of these is probably Atlanta, Cubs, and I like Colorado. I just don't like the Dodgers bullpen situation right now. Kenley Jensen is having, I'm not making fun of it, he's having heart issues. Can't make certain trips. Couldn't make the trip to Colorado this week because of his heart condition. So if you don't know who your closer is in these big games when you need to close teams out in the ninth inning, it could really be a pressure on your pitching staff. And something that Davey Martinez needs to look at. I personally think the Dodgers could win a wild card spot, and I like the St. Louis Cardinals to win that second one. I don't think Milwaukee has it. I think St. Louis has really came together after firing Mike Matheny, so that's what my picks would be. But I could be wrong. I was wrong last week about football, and speaking of football, college football picks, I went 2 out of 5. Now, the games that I got right was Auburn over Washington, and Alabama over Louisville. I think everybody knew Alabama would win that game. A close game between Notre Dame and Michigan. Notre Dame could be a sleeper to come out and be in the college football playoff. Michigan kind of slacked a little early. Couple of mental mistakes, but I think they'll bounce back late this week against Western Kentucky. I lost the LSU-Miami game. LSU ended up winning 33-17. Hard to say. I mean, LSU has got a very underrated defense, but Miami showed strides of coming alive, but they got some work to do if they're going to contend for the ACC title, who I got Miami to win the ACC this year. Excuse me. And I think maybe a surprise in some people's eyes was Virginia Tech beating Florida State last night. Now, I originally picked Florida State, but Virginia Tech has impressed. That's another underrated team. Now, I didn't mention them in the couple previous episodes of the show where I thought Virginia Tech was just going to be looked over. My point on that was they are a looked over team. They got a great defensive line. Florida State's offensive line needs to improve in the upcoming weeks. I don't think Florida State, if they don't get that corrected, it's going to be a long year for the Seminoles. But it's only week 1. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but if you don't cure these trends now, they're going to be trends in the future come October and November. So 2-5, 2 out of 5 last week. Now I got some games this week that I'm going to pick. I'll tell you the games and I'll tell you who I'm picking and probably why, of course. So we got Clemson taking on Texas A&M. USC is taking on Stanford. Kentucky is playing Florida. Iowa State at Iowa. Colorado and Nebraska. I kind of took a little bit of a overall realm. A lot of the higher quality teams are playing, I guess the word would be cupcake teams now, but these are some good matchups, I think. These are the 5 best that I thought would be a good matchup. First off, I will say I'll pick first is Colorado and Nebraska. I am taking Nebraska to beat Colorado. Colorado, good Pac-12 team a couple of years ago. Last year kind of faded a little bit. They could be an up-and-coming team, but this is going to be Nebraska's first game of the season with Scott Frost. They got their game canceled last Saturday against Akron due to weather. So they're going to be coming out more hungrier than ever to play. I think Nebraska wins that game. Next game is Clemson at Texas A&M. Now, I wasn't very fond of how I see Clemson, but I think this is a great matchup for their team. Texas A&M with Kellen Mond is... I think they're an up-and-coming team. Jimbo Fisher, new head coach, Dabo Swinney, Florida State, Clemson all over again. But Clemson, I think, wins. They got the edge over Texas A&M. I am not a big fan of A&M's defense right now. I think Clemson with Kelly Bryant can overtake them. USC is at Stanford now, a Pac-12 matchup. I like USC because I think USC is the best team in that conference. For the simple fact of they are an explosive offense. Now I know they have a new quarterback, but Stanford traditionally against USC is kind of back and forth. I don't trust Stanford right now. They left me a little suspect against San Diego State. I understand first game of the season they started off slow, but Bryce Love did not have that great of a first half. Kind of picked it up towards the end, but he didn't show me enough to where they're really ready to take on a team like USC right now. So I like USC in that game. In the final game, actually, no, I got two more games. I'll do Iowa State and Iowa. I'm from Iowa, so I picked this personally. I like the Hawkeyes to beat the Cyclones. Iowa could be an underrated Big Ten team. And then finally, Florida and Kentucky. I am taking Florida to beat Kentucky for the 31st consecutive season, I think. So Clemson, USC, Florida, Iowa, Nebraska. Don't forget, like and subscribe to this channel. So now we'll talk the NFL for week 1. So I always like to do my picks with stickers. And the 6 games that I picked, I will do first is the Thursday night opener. Atlanta is playing Philadelphia. I think everybody was kind of disappointed in how Atlanta was last year, Super Bowl hangover and whatnot. They did win on the road in the wild card round against the Rams, but I think everybody was kind of expecting maybe a Super Bowl. Philadelphia came out of nowhere last year. Not really come out of nowhere, but surprised a lot of people on how good they were, even with their backup quarterback. He is starting Thursday night against Atlanta. So my pick in this game will be the Philadelphia Eagles. I just don't see how Philadelphia loses to Atlanta, but then again, it's week 1, so we really don't know anything yet. Now, my second game will be the big CBS game, Houston Texans taking on the New England Patriots. Deshaun Watson comes back off an injury. Could this be Brady and Belichick's last year in New England? Highly doubtful. Who knows? Like I said, I'm just a guy that likes to pick football games. This could have been my upset pick, but I'm not going to pick them. I'm taking the Patriots to beat the Texans. Now, this game will be my upset pick for the week. Will be Jacksonville at the New York Giants. Jacksonville could have possibly got into that Super Bowl if it had not been for a couple of close calls. I won't get into all that. That's a whole nother show. But the Giants got a new running back. Odell Beckham just signed the extension. Jacksonville, I think, is heavily favored in this game, so I am taking my upset, the Giants, to beat Jacksonville. Next game, the big Fox game for the week. Dallas at the Carolina. Dallas underachieved last year, going 9-7. Everybody thought that could have been maybe a possible Super Bowl run. Carolina with Cam Newton, they are inconsistent at times. One year we don't expect them to be good. They're really great. Next year we expect them to be really great. They're down. Carolina did do something with Cam Newton that nobody else in the NFC South has done, and that is win 4 straight division championships a few years ago. Now, the NFC South on paper may look like the best division in football. Who knows? I already made my playoff picks, and I didn't think Carolina could be up there. But in this game, I like Carolina to beat the Cowboys. Sorry, Cowboys fans. The Sunday night game will be the Chicago Bears taking on the Green Bay Packers. Chicago is now starting Mitchell Trubisky as their quarterback. It's officially now he is the starter. New head coach going into Lambeau against Mike McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers. Even though he did come back for that one game against Carolina last year, now got the extension. Now it's his, what's going to happen. Unless the Bears can somehow get Gale Sayers or Walter Payton, I'm taking the Green Bay Packers. And then the final game of the week that I'll take is the Rams at the Raiders. I could have took the Jets and Lions, but I didn't. Didn't appeal to me. I think Detroit, whatever. I'm not going to pick that game, but I think y'all know who I'm picking. So this game is John Gruden's first game back as a head coach. He got 10 years, $100 million. Forgotten to mention, Chicago does have Khalil Mack, but Oakland doesn't. Rams loaded up on offense, loaded up on free agents this season. They are in win now mode. They think they can win the Super Bowl this year and possibly keep these players for years to come. Now the question is whether they can keep those or not. Now there's tension now from Oakland that Khalil Mack's not there. Derek Carr came out and said, I think we should have kept him. A lot of players were very upset about it. Even Gruden said the situation shouldn't have went down like that. Well, John Gruden, you are the GM. You traded him anyway. I like the Rams to beat the Raiders. So, to recap, I like the Eagles to beat the Falcons. Patriots to beat the Texans. Upset pick is the Giants over the Jags. Panthers to beat the Cowboys. Let me get this up to the camera there, sorry. Green Bay to beat Chicago. And the Rams to beat the Raiders. So, interesting matchup coming up this week. So, next week we're going to talk NASCAR starting with the playoffs. This last race coming up in Indianapolis. We'll set the entire field for the field of 16. We'll recap week 2 of college football, week 1 of the NFL, move forward to our picks and get into that. So be sure to, like I said before, like and subscribe to this channel. There'll be a new video next Tuesday or Wednesday. And I hope everybody had a great Labor Day weekend, as I did too. And talk to you guys soon, and hope you all have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.